Okay, so here I am driving. It looks like, well, of course, since I left Kong Island, Fez Night is never going to be the same. Nor was it ever that much. Maybe all of them were the same, right? No, if you go back far enough, they were different. Alright, I gotta try to keep an eye on traffic and do this at the same time. Again, another Riley style video. Alright, time to don the Fez. Let's see if I can find it. Greetings, fellow citizens. This is Citizen Kong, and welcome to another Fez Night. Tonight's Fez Night should be called Tomorrow Never Knows Fez Night. I wonder if I can fit that all in the titles. So, yeah, I'm driving up the coast here. I tried shooting a little bit of the view. If it comes out, you'll see that at the beginning. Not much to see, it's a little bit overcast. And I started drifting into other lanes and stuff while I was trying to hang the phone out the window. Something happened recently that was kind of good. Well, the reason why I'm calling it Tomorrow Never Knows Fez Night is, of course, the Beatles song, which I'm a big fan of the Beatles. And my advice to you is beware of anyone that is not a fan of the Beatles. I mean, I have friends that aren't fans of the Beatles, but really give them extra scrutiny because if you don't like the Beatles, there's something wrong with you. So, yeah, I started to mention that something fairly good happened. I've managed to keep in touch, or actually they've kept in touch with me since high school. One of my friends that I've known since second grade, we still talk regularly, and I'll get a text from every now and then. We'll text and have a chat. And yeah, I've known him since second grade. He's the one, Jeff, when I was talking about like, oh, you're like doing that sort of insulting macho kind of thing, and kind of like, don't get mushy and you just say something, nasty or whatever. Yeah, it's not an old guy thing or anything like that. I mean, my friend Jim's like that, but we called him Jimmy the Dick because he was like that. He would say the most inappropriate thing during, certain social situations. But, we loved him anyway. He's still alive. I love him anyway. Yeah, it was King Dick, and he had an entourage. He had, what do they call it? A posse. I wasn't part of that, okay? I am never a member of anybody's posse. But Richter had a posse, a bunch of underlings. So he was King Dick and his peasant penises. And the other crazy thing is, like, these guys didn't mind being called peasant penises, or at least they didn't show it, because they were being part of this sort of, how could I say it, a pipeline of mind-enhancing substances. So yeah, you have your hanger-ons, looking for scraps. I was never one of those. So, and I can't really say I had a posse, but I did have a place, a lot like in that 70s show, but instead of being a basement, it was a garage. And so I did have people come by to share what they had because I provided a place. And then sometimes I would share, of course, I'd have something, because I would provide a place for them to come and listen to tunes and, and imbibe. So, but I wouldn't call them my posse because they didn't really follow me around. We didn't go like do stuff together. Rarely, one or two of them we would. So, my friend that I haven't, my other friend, not Jimmy the Dick, but and I say that with love. My other friend that I lost touch with years and years ago. It must have been maybe 20 years ago since I heard from him. And me and Jimmy would talk about him and go, hey man, have you heard from him? No, and there were rumors about him. One rumor was that he was dead. And then out of the blue, I got a strange tweet on Twitter, and the question was, do you remember the cigarette vending machine in the trailer park? And that was like, my trailer park days, mobile home banner, and we were probably the trailer park gang. Jimmy was one of those, and my friend Kenny. And Kenny and Jimmy didn't get along. They were born on the same day. They didn't really get along, but sometimes they would do stuff together. The three of us would do things together. But usually I would just do stuff with Kenny, or I would hang out with Jimmy. Rarely was it all three of us, or more than that. There were other people in the group, but and it wasn't, in that case, Jimmy was definitely not in charge. That's probably one of the reasons why he didn't like it. So, yeah, I heard from this guy, and I wrote back something like one of the greatest inventions ever, the cigarette vending machine, allowing cigarette access to all. You remember those cigarette vending machines? Man, you could be a kid as long as you had the money, the change, like enough quarters, which, geez, back then, what, it was like 75 cents or $1 for a pack of cigarettes? And so then I knew it must be Kenny. And we got a chance to talk on the phone the other night, but I've been helping my flatmate with some things, and I couldn't, much to my chagrin, I couldn't stay on the phone as long as I would have liked to. That's one of the things, anyway, life's full of give and take. Once again, tomorrow never knows. I don't know what's going to happen in my life. I'm at a crossroads, and it's very, very strange crossroads. I mean, there's like fog on both sides. Absolutely. Could you have an intersection of like 6 roads? Crossroads, you usually think of 2 roads intersecting. I'm at the crossroad where there's like 6 different ways to go. And none of them I don't know. Come up with a plan. So anyway, talking to Kenny, man, it was good. He said I sounded just the same. He was commenting about how I still had the same laugh. And to be honest, I don't know if he just would have called me, but I'm not really good at recognizing voices all that well, unless it's really, really unique. Yeah, Kenny's like a family man, got kids, and a place, and all that. I'm very, very happy for him because we were all on kind of the 3 of us were all on a trail. I did mention my friend Kip, who didn't live in the trailer park, so his bond wasn't quite as strong, but I knew Kip since high school, and he still stays in touch with me. And Kenny and Jimmy are both friends with Kip. Jimmy hates Kip. They'll still talk, but then... and I won't go into why. But, yeah, and the subject of, we're talking about yes, and I go, man, I get a lot of grief about being a yes man. Kenny says, yeah, so do I. We talk a little bit about the back in the day, getting stoned, listening to albums, and kicking around, and we didn't get quite enough time to finish reminiscing, but I got very nostalgic. I felt like those were some of the best stoner times of my high school years. Was Kenny and I, because there was something about just he and I were alone. We always got along. We didn't fight. It was just a strange thing, and I fight with everybody. I got pissed off at Jimmy like plenty of times, real pissed off. And in fact, in grade school we got in a fight, and then I kicked his ass, and there was nobody around to see it. Nobody around. I told you that story though, once Jimmy said like how I had something in me, that I would just, I guess, go into a rage, like, you know, the berserker, and you know, it's that Irish Scottish blood, man. Hot tempered, throw some Mexican in there, boy, you got a volatile mix. So yeah, Richter goes, remember that time you kicked Donnie Moonan's ass? I go, no. Actually, I don't remember. Maybe because the rage was such a blinding rage, you know, that the memory becomes erased. And yeah, I said, you kicked Donnie Moonan's ass. He did something and you got pissed off and you just freaked out and jumped him. I kind of wish I could remember that. The fight I had with Jimmy, though, it wasn't like I raged or anything. It was just kind of a normal fight that just started. And I'm more of a friend of mine called me a brawler. I don't throw punches, but I kind of wrestle and make dirty moves. I think Richter said Donnie Moon and I started hitting him, which, God, I must have really been enraged. So no, Kenny and I always got along, you know. And he usually had wheels. Usually he would drive, but I would drive too. Oh God, man! But Kenny used to get me in trouble. Oh my God. Fuck. I remember one time I was driving the bug and he was with me. Oh man, that was bad. Yeah, I used to do a lot of drinking and driving back then. Didn't get in trouble with the cops or anything, touch wood. But yeah, it was not good. He suggested I try something and like an idiot I did. Anyway, it was really, really good to get in touch with him, and I was just thinking about how talking to somebody like that can bring back such strong memories that, you know, and you're old and you think about that, you feel young for a little while. And where I am now, location-wise, he lived pretty far from me. Where he is now was pretty far from me when I was in San Diego, and pretty far from me where I am now. But it's still doable. So I might jet down there and see him. Oh, the funny thing is, so I told Kenny that I've done web searches for him many times over the years and never found anything. The name was too common. And he said when he put my middle name in, David Max Blakeney, he said I popped up all over the place. And at one point he goes, "Look, you gotta tell me, what's up with the Fez?" So he has a good idea of what I look like now, but I have no idea what he looks like now. I imagine he probably looks like his dad. Oops, almost took. You know a funny thing about this route here? Exits are always supposed to be on the right. On highways, freeways, whatever part of the country you call it. I mean, I haven't been all over the country. But in California, the exits are almost always on the right. But in some parts of Southern California, there's exits on the left. I almost veered left and took an exit by accident. So that was it. I hope to look forward to speaking to him again. The other great thing about Kenny was he was such a good musician, and he played in a band, and he was mostly into that heavy metal thing. But we would kick around, and I started getting into that new wave, B-52s, Devo. They called the new wave. Tom Petty was included in that, but he was just like this new emerging artist that wasn't like the other, like Sammy Hagar and Van Halen, things like that. So they called it new wave. I was a big fan of the Cars, not so much now. And Cheap Trick, still a big Cheap Trick fan. And Kenny was a Cheap Trick fan at the time. The thing with Kenny was he was you know, dare I say it? You might watch this video. He kind of looked like Buddy Carlos. He didn't have like the skinny rock star kind of image, but boy, that guy could play. He was an excellent musician, you know, and just new music. It was almost like he was born into it, you know, had a natural ability. So it was really, really. I hope we can talk again in the future very soon. But he's a family man, you know. He's got a wife and kids and things that keep him busy. I've got things now that keep me busy, but I can't go into that. It's just I'll be glad when I get through this and I can start focusing on other things. So how about that missing airliner, huh? It's amazing. It's amazing how the theories come out of the woodwork. I am not sure what the latest is. I got kind of tired of it. I guess there was something floating off the coast of Antarctica or something, the Australian PM said. Well, I'm doing this new thing. I quit smoking cigarettes. I've been vaping. And, to be honest, I'm taking in a lot more nicotine than I used to, but I haven't had a cigarette in ages. I have no craving for cigarettes because I'm getting my nicotine this way. And my lungs do feel better. Who knows what the long-term effects are of it, though. So, what else is in the news? Not a whole lot. I've been following the news so much. A friend of mine who is considered herself a lifelong Republican, got health insurance through Obamacare, and now she even wrote a letter to President Obama thanking him because this is the first real health coverage she's had in many, many, many years. And so she just went to the doctor and had a full checkup and was looking into some health problems that she had. So there you go. There's one anecdote about the success of Obamacare. And I had one idea. It's going to be difficult for me to do Fez Night, regular Fez Night, because I just don't have a setup like I used to. I had to leave a lot of things at home. I left my lights and things at home. Because actually, look, believe it or not, I would try to light Fez Night, just so I'd look more flattering. Unlike this harsh light that I'm under right now. So, yeah, it's too late to do anything about it now. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm about talked out. Talked about my friend. We're going on about 17 minutes now. So, oh yeah, I want to comment on the recent uploads from on Steampunk Monk. The Love Shack, very funny, great writing from Old Frank, and good direction. Wonderful with voice talents of the monk, and yeah, I commented. I gave him a call and said I was going to post a link on Facebook, but it was much too profane and vile, to I would offend the sensibilities of some of these people, because I'm friends on Facebook with like the woman that I took the jewelry class with, who I had a major crush on, and and certain people I don't want them to think ill of me or whatever. I don't know. It's just, I would like to think of her that I was, what I'm saying. My neighbors, my former neighbors that would watch Fez Night, or I'm friends with them on Facebook. Actually, only one ever bothered watching Fez Night, but you know what? It's boring to everybody, and I'm sure my friend Kenny didn't watch very much of it either. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, this talking to myself makes the trip go by pretty fast. And what else? Nothing's really popping. Okay, speaking of Facebook, I was thinking of if I get set up so I can do Fez Night from my domicile, from my abode, I might, I look at Facebook and the posts are interesting. So maybe that might give, how I used to look through the newspaper? Maybe I'll look through Facebook posts. Oh, speaking of which, did everybody know Casey Nunez has black lung? And I wondered, he says he has black lung, and I'm like, dude, you never worked in a coal mine. Any ideas how you could get black lung from any kind of occupation or lifestyle other than working in a coal mine? Get a shout out, a tip of the Fez. Oh yeah, I said a long time ago I don't do shout outs. I will do a hello and a doffing of the Fez to methadone for life. This Fez isn't stiff enough. It's not good for doffing. Yeah, just want to say hi to him. Sorry for any of those other people I'm not saying hi to, but yeah, I did have a really nice conversation, long conversation with Hugh of Methadone for Life fame, and he's just such a good guy. He's a really, really good guy. Unlike all my other friends on YouTube. Just kidding. Oh, I need a haircut. So, guess that's about it. Somebody was commenting about how my friendship with Timmy didn't work out and it was my fault. You've got to be kidding. You've got to be. Oh, if you knew, if only you knew what I knew. All right, everybody, I'm going to wind this up. I don't have my cup, but I do have a water bottle. All right, everybody, have a great week, and thank you for watching Tomorrow Never Knows Fez Night. Cheers.